What we were going through is an example of how to set up MySQL and ProxySQL. I will present a very simple case and a very simple example of sharding, and I will use that kind of approach during the presentation. What we will do is sharding by port or IP. That's the same mechanism. I will show you the port way, and then how to shard using one specific field value association, and then eventually how to shard having a comment, injecting a comment in the string in the SQL, and how to use a combination of the both. Okay, so very simple. What we will do, let me go straight. What we will do is again during the presentation doing here is sharding by port, sharding by parameters, and doing the injection of the comment. Sorry, what I've done, I was presenting this. I was thinking about that as a mix between a presentation and a tutorial. So there is a combination of information on the slide that will allow you to replicate what I'm doing, just using the Word database, the example database that is available on the MySQL side. What you need to do is just create three different MySQL instances, and obviously one ProxySQL, and having to convert the Word schema into 4 different schemas named by continent, and create one user for accessing the data, and 3 different host groups. I assume you guys are familiar already with ProxySQL, at least how to configure, because this presentation gives for granted that you know that. Okay, there was a presentation today in the morning that I have done about the other part. So I'm really giving that for someone that is already aware of it. Okay, very simple. The code here is presenting how to create the different schemas. So I'm going to skip that. And what you will do is, this is the part related for the configuration of proxy. ProxySQL can shard, to configure ProxySQL, what you just need to do is to create a user that it will access all the different shards and set some variable. In this case, I'm referring to the last version of ProxySQL. This is 1.4.0. This is available on the website and on Git. And what is very important for us is to consider these two variables: the variable MySQL processor regex and MySQL query processor iteration. We will see why they are important after, but the main thing is that the value of 1 is because now Proxy use 2 different regex, and we are going to use the 1 version that is the PCRE instead of the RE2. And the iteration is the parameter that control how if a single query rule can be iterated or not. And given the fact that we will use the newest version, you don't need to have iteration here. The other thing that we need to do is setting up the MySQL servers. As I said, we are going to use 3 different servers and associated different host group. Here we go. And the other part is to set for the test that we are going to do for the association and sharding by port, we need to set up in proxy the different port. This value is the value that said where the client, the ProxySQL client, will listen and what port will be available for and accessible. There is all the configuration in proxy is dynamic, except this variable and another one. But this variable, so you need to insert, you need to update the value, then you need to save the variable, and then you need to go out from proxy. You don't do proxy SQL restart. You need to go out and do a full restart of the daemon. Otherwise, you will lose the information. So, MySQL will manage the logic in ProxySQL to manage the sharding is in MySQL query rules, and what you can shard for are these kind of things. You can shard by username, you can shard by schema name, you can shard by client address, you can shard for proxy address, proxy port, match digest, which means by the query that you need to eventually convert and match pattern. What you can do is to create, obviously, a shard that is inside the same node but different schema, changing the SQL structure, or you can with the replace pattern, or you can point to a different host group, associating what is coming in with an host group that point to a specific server, and this is with destination host group. All the important logic is, as I said, is in the query rule table. The query rule table has this important part, okay? You have the rule ID, and you have flag in, flag out, and apply. What these are? The flag in is the value that will be used by proxy to enter the query rule when you create a chain of different query rules. So let's say that in this case, I will have here somewhere, I will have my matching rule. So the text that will define by regular expression what is the query rule, what the query rule will check for, okay? And if this is satisfied, then proxy will enter inside it, and what we will do, we will eventually redirect you to the specific host group that is part of this table, and will exit because there is apply. But if instead this rule is not valid, and again, ProxySQL will process them in sequence, we'll go to the rule 2. Rule 2 has a flag in, flag out. It will check for the query rules. It will say, yes, okay, this is match. And I have the flag out, this is 50. It will go, there is no apply, so I can continue to do the processing. It will exit this query rule, will go in the next rule that has the same flag in of the flag out, and will process it. And in this case, given there is no apply again, it will go to the next query rule that has the flag out, with the flag in with the same flag out, and will process, and then after that we will exit. So it's on cascade. It's clear? I think it's clear, right? Okay. So example, as I said, by port, by schema and a field value, and by comment. So what will happen here is that we will have this scenario. And to achieve that, it's very simple. What we will do is just create 3 query rules. Where is it? Here. And the 3 query rules is done by a standard SQL insert. And what we will do is port 6034, port 6035, and 36. And what we will do is mainly, for the value of these 3 query rules, so 41, 42, 43, create the rule will be active, the username will be the user shard read and write, the proxy port is the port in the loop that you want to use it, and the host group obviously will be 10, 20, and 30. What you have is this. Doing the select against the query rules, you will see that you have query rule 31, where is it? 31 with host group 10 that will point to port 34, okay? And in ProxySQL, that is what will happen. Very simple. And as a result, if I do a check, just querying sending a query against the ProxySQL port and changing the port, as I already have decided before. So if I just change the port where I'm connecting, I will get this one. It was a Galera PXE, a cluster. And what I will have is that the node name will change accordingly, because the ProxySQL will connect me in one of the other, following the rule that I provide to it. It's very, very simple. So going ahead, the other part is instead sharding by parameter. And this is very, what Proxy will do. Proxy can read the SQL string that you are passing. So what it could be done is that a query like this one, okay, it's not giving me the pointer. Here we go. Yeah, a query like this one will have continent Europe. And let's say that this could be continent, but it could be whatever. Could be, group ID, could be whatever kind of constant you have in your queries. And what ProxySQL will do is identify this part, and given the query rules that I will show you immediately after, will convert this simple query in something different. So we'll rewrite the query, saying instead going to world city, go to Europe city. So what it will mainly do is that it will connect to the same node, but on the same node we have divided our word database in 4 different shards, in 4 different schema. So let's call them shards. This is just an example, but you can do whatever you want there. And what will happen here is that we are going to point to the different schema using query rewrite. How to do this is very simple again. It's one query rules. What we'll do is that you identify the query that you want to trap with with a word part, and you will create parameter groups, and you will rearrange the parameter groups, and the query will be merely rewrite like this. Yeah, so this is the same thing. What is interesting here is that if I want to check what is going on. I want to check the efficiency of what I'm doing. So there is a very simple way I have put the whole string of the query here, that you can query the MySQL query rules, and joining that with the stats coming out from the query rules. And what it will report to you is the statistics of how many hits the specific rule has. In this case, I will get 4 times the hit, because in this specific script, I was looping with a for condition. I was looping with the for condition to the 4 different Asia, Europe, Africa, and North American continent. The other part that is very powerful and is also very simple to develop for and integrate is to inject comments. You can inject comments in the query, and then use ProxySQL to shard by the comment that you pass. What is a comment in a standard for MySQL is just this, whatever is between the slash asterisk. Very simple, and you can customize as you like, right? So in this case, for instance, I use the continent to shard. What I need to do here is a little bit different from what I have done before. I will create 2 different query rules. One is to catch the comment, and the other one is to say what you need to do once you have identified that specific comment. Again, that could be done in one query rule only, but I was doing this to show you the way you can concatenate the thing. So the first rule will do exactly that. We'll identify, that there is a comment saying a continent. And the second rule will just say, well, change whatever is word into Asia. And that's it. If you run it, you will see that given this kind of query, the query will be transformed in this way, and the data that will be accessed will be specifically for that schema. The important thing here is that there is a difference between the current version and the previous version of ProxySQL, because the previous version was not supporting the recursive, auto-recursive, and you need to explicitly say in the settings that it has to be recursive n number of times, and then the query will hit, instead once, it will hit 4 times. This is because in this specific query you will have Asia mentioned 4 times. So instead having the mainly what was not supporting before was the global in the regex, okay? So it has to recursively process it. Now, let's clarify a little bit better. So we have 2 query rules on Cascade. We have the modifier that is caseless and global. I already explained the trick here about the version. Then flag in 0 in the first query rule that will pass, the flag out will be 23, while the second query rule will have 23 as a flag in and 23 as flag out. The match pattern for the query rules will be continent, Asia, and then the second rule will have the pattern. So it's very simple. It's just that. The other important thing that you can do is to, instead having pointing to the same schema, and this is because we choose that, we can point and do the same thing against a different host group. In this case, what we will do is just saying, for that kind of comment, you just go to this host group. And this obviously valid for select, for insert, for update, for whatever you want to do. What you will do at this point is changing, and in the query rule, instead, you will just push the value of the host group saying, okay, if the query match this pattern, so, shard host Europe, then you have to go and point directly to, to point directly to the different set of servers. And finally, you can combine the things, right? You can combine the different approach. So you can have your ProxySQL set as recognize the first part of the comment and point to a specific host group, and recognize the second part of a comment, and in that specific host group, point to that specific schema, right? It's just how you will build up. All the logic is in the query rules, and it's very easy to set it up. What ProxySQL cannot do for you is it cannot aggregate the different result set coming from the different shards. So the different shards will still have their own result set. It's not possible to combine yet. We are discussing about it. We are discussing how to do, broken. We are discussing about how to do that, and but it's not available at the moment. There is no way to do a calculation, from regex about what the different shard can be, and the more query rule you will add, and the more complexity you add, the more time it eventually could take. In terms of time, this is coming from one of my colleagues. Yes, I saw you. Let me finish, and I will. Coming from from Tibor, which is one of my colleagues, have done a very good analysis of how costly it is to have query rules and how costly it is to put them in relation one on another. Here, the higher is the better. So if you notice with, well, actually what we get at the end is that with ProxySQL 1.4 compiled and 100 query rules with PCRE is the one giving us the best performance. And again, in this case was 100 query rules concatenated, one after the other. So it's not, you know, just the full set. We were going through 100 query rules. So very brief summary here is I think that ProxySQL will help you in many ways. It's going to help you in sharding efficiently, and it will you can use, as I said, different way of sharding just utilizing the query rules that you have. The problem that you can have is the chain and the logical approach that you need to use that here, and if you are not careful there, especially in applying in the right moment, you may end up in losing performance. But again, is only in the case you start to have very long chain, talking about more than 100. So here a few links that you may consider relevant and interesting. And thanks to you. Question? Sorry. Yes. Mod works. Mod works. Mod works. Yeah, mod works. That's the only case where you can do it, because you can do for mod 25, for instance, it can help you to do this kind. Yeah, mod works. It's the only case. And actually, there was an example I wrote a blog on sharding, and in the blog you can see that I was reporting that an example with mod. Okay. Any other question? Yes.
Assuming I can shard on multiple hosts, so I can have something in HA. What I mean by that is if I have data, let's say I have 3 servers, I want to divide it up by, like, for example, by continent, and I have multiple servers that have the Asia data, multiple servers that have Europe, multiple servers that have North America. So at least I have some form of HA.
Absolutely. You shard by host group. The host group, the whole host group is a combination of servers, right? Okay. So whatever exists, I'm over. No, but thanks. But whatever exists in terms of sharding, in whatever you use in ProxySQL is conceptualized as host group. So, okay. Any other question? And thanks. I'm sorry if I had to run across. You know, it was a wide run. Thank you very much.